Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Caffeine Crypto, where I ask you or welcome you to join me with your favorite caffeinated beverage of choice, energy drink, coffee, whatever it might be, as we get ready for today's or this past week's news. Hope you had a great 4th of July for everybody in the States, and I hope you had a great week wherever you are in this world, this wonderful world we live in. Going to be a little bit quiet today. That's why the mic is in camera view, because wifey is sleeping right over there. So make sure to like and subscribe so that way I can get my own studio. Thank you. Anyways, it's been a fun week. I'm not sure about you guys, but got a lot done outside of tech, crypto, the channel, whatever it might be. But Bitcoin looked like it was going to push up and make a new all-time high later this, earlier this week. I would say Wednesday, Thursday, and of course, we retraced back to 107, but here we're sitting at 108. I did say on X, if you haven't followed me there, make sure you follow me, that basically, if we can hold the line, maybe next week could be good. Maybe. I really think the end of the month FOMC meeting is really going to be the catalyst to just push us up. But we'll have to see how things pan out. Right now, you can see there's a pink line here, and we're kind of being supported by it. We're above the 50, the 20 to 50 to 100, and the 200 EMA ribbons on the daily, which is what I use to look at everything. I know the short time frames can be good for short-term gains, but like I'm playing a long game, guys. I'm really playing the long game here. So right now, we're sitting right on that pink line, as you can see here on the daily. So yeah, Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday was a good day. Thursday, we were pushing up. Looked like we were going to make a new all-time high and then retrace right back down. So just hold. If we can just hold right here in this area above this pink line for a little bit, then would be good. If we fall back into this little wedge that we got here, I could spell bad news in the long term. Maybe the end of August, if we get stuck in it again, maybe the end of August we see some pretty cool like lift up and get out of this area. Right now we're above it. I want to stay above it, and I want to continue to push up higher, but we'll see how things actually pan out and turn out and stuff like that. Sorry for running late this morning. Again, the missus is sleeping right there. Yes, we're recording all this and all my videos in my fucking bedroom. Get used to it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this upcoming week, and I hope that we can hold where we are at and then push up higher. I would like to say congratulations to one of you who hit a Bitcoin block earlier this week. We'll talk about that later in the video. We're going to go over some various bits of news, just getting right into it. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, please at me or send a super chat if you can afford to do so. I'm just going to say good morning to the few that I see commented, like Sam Fisher, Automatic Beats. That'd probably be a different screen name. Crypto Bedell, hope you all doing well. I'm seeing Crypto Bedell doing some live streams during the evening as well. If you guys haven't checked that out, please do so. I know Crypto Mikkel was live streaming, but I was running really late, so apologies for my tardiness. Moving on, Bitcoin price falls to 107K despite the 1 billion spot Bitcoin ETF inflows. What's behind the move? So talking about the move downwards, I guess you could say, because it was facing strong rejection near the 110.5, keeping us away from that all-time high. The drop coincided with 1 billion in net inflows into spot Bitcoin ETFs over 2 days. Traders are now scrambling to justify the 2.8% pullback, despite Bitcoin having hovered around 107.4 for most of the prior week. And we've been kind of sitting around that for like a while, right? Like multiple days. Like here we are again. Yesterday ended around that time. Tuesday, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you go back here, and it's just more of the same. So this area that we're kind of hovering around, it's a good range to play, like on the shorter time frames. So 3 commas, whatever algo bots you got going. I know some of you might be running your own Python scripts and using a little bit of AI to research and look at what the market's doing, trends, social media posts, and then playing off of that. Good job. Uh, I have not set one up myself, and congratulations to some of you that have. But yeah, 3 commas, Telegram, bots, whatever it might be, it's pretty good to kind of play those short time frames, because every time Bitcoin does a big swing like this, altcoins suffer. Let's measure it actually. So we measure from where we were down to where we are right now. That's about a 2.3% drop. If we go to the bottom, 2.8. So about what the article says. The decline could simply reflect a profit taking ahead of the weekend, which is July 4th. Maybe you wanted to get like a shitload of fireworks. Maybe you wanted to go hard in the paint on a party that you're hosting. So you take some profits and you go ahead and throw down, right? Burgers, hot dogs, America with the twin rocket launchers for as far as fireworks go. So you take some profits, no big whoop. It's not a big drop comparatively, but yeah, it was only 1.5% below its all-time high. Investors remain wary of potential negative effects of the global trade situation, the economic situation, the global tension situation. So everybody's kind of anxious, like a bunch of chihuahuas right now, nervous as hell, waiting for somebody to say something or do something, and then shit goes belly up. But if your convictions are strong and you dollar cost average, I think everything will be fine if you play the long game. We also had dormant wallets, which is going to be a couple articles here that we're going to talk about, that moved quite a bit of Bitcoin. Dormant Bitcoin wallet spooks the market by moving 80,000 Bitcoin. Some market participants argue that investors are alarmed after a long dormant Bitcoin wallet moves coins for the first time in years. On-chain analysts speculate that a miner from 2011 was behind Friday's transfer of 80,000, and it's reported that this entity once held over 200,000 Bitcoin. Right, large scale mining operations move large amounts of Bitcoin often. Normally they're like maybe 40,000, 20,000, maybe a couple thousand, but 200,000. That's a pretty penny. Matter of fact, if we go to the BTC to USD calculator, let's look at what that is. So right now, $200,000 is worth a lot of money. So that's 3 zeros, 3 zeros. So now we're in the millions. So that's $21.6 billion in value right there. If the person was smart, whoever it is, they wouldn't just dump it all at once. They would slowly liquidate those assets, taking profits over time, and they probably would more than likely do it what's called OTC, or over the counter. Maybe large financial institutions are like, hey, I will pay you 2% over the current value for that token, or I will pay you 1.8% or 5%, and then they do an OTC trade, verified, all that good stuff, and it doesn't really affect the price, but it obviously causes a lot of spooks. What if, and this is another thing, I want you guys to think about this, what if it's our boys, our white hats, white hat, our gray hats, and especially our black hats that have broke the algorithm or the encrypted wallet, or through brute force figured out the seed phrase for one of these dormant wallets that somebody lost, right? That's somebody like the guy with the hard drive that was in the landfill that the judge denied. What if somebody was able to brute force the seed phrase after so many years? Quantum computing is getting that much better. China's competing in that, Russia's competing in that, America's competing in that. What if, once quantum computing is becoming very popular, there's a chance that quantum computing can break these encryptions very easily, right? Or identify the seed phrase or the private key very freaking easily. So that's just something that we got to keep in mind. It might not actually be the user per se. It could actually be our boys or state-sponsored individuals that are using plentiful resources. This isn't something that you and I can do. This is not something at home that we can do. This is something where we need to have access to a pretty decent server and a chain of them, a cluster, if not high-end level, as well as a little bit of AI. If we're not going to use quantum, if we're using quantum, we could probably do it with the quantum computer itself. But if we're not going to have that, we're going to need AI, a shit ton of clusters, and a bunch of compute power to really do it. So we'll see if it becomes identified. I don't think the person, if this is an individual, there's no reason for them to dox themselves. This is their money that they had since 2011. It could be an old school Silk Road homeboy that was just like, yeah, man, I made bank. I forgot my wallet. And after years, he finds it, or she finds it, or they find it. Hell, it could probably be Ross. So again, I don't see any reason why they would dox themselves, but that amount starting to move did spook people. I'm not spooked. You guys let me know in the comments, wherever you're watching, whether you're on Twitch, X, or YouTube. Are you spooked by this dormant wallet making some moves? Even in the case of over-the-counter transactions, it seems improbable that the buyer would absorb 4.3 million in Bitcoin in a single transaction. For comparison, strategy accumulated 17,000 Bitcoin throughout June. Still, large wallet transfers often trigger FUD, or fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which can put short-term pressure on prices. In May, addresses dated back to 2013 transferred over 3,420 Bitcoin. In November 2024, another wallet moved about 2,000, and that had not been touched in 14 years. Similar events occurred in March 2024 with 1,000 Bitcoin. In November 2023, another 6,500. The isolated movements have not historically correlated with long-term trend reversals. So while people are freaking out, I don't see it as such a big concern. Bitcoin's most likely reason that the recent weakness reflects mounting macroeconomic concerns, right? The situations throughout the global planet situation, whatever. I like it sucks right now. You may not be getting impacted by what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, what's going on between China and Taiwan. You may not be getting impacted, but guess what? Those impacts are about to hit us like a fucking freight train here in the States. Not that I'm concerned. I'm just being smart with how I move. I didn't buy a car, guys. I fixed the one I had that's already been paid off. I'm keeping the cars that I have running. I own my house. I don't rent. I'm stacking crypto, but I'm also developing a cash position. I'm expanding upon my 401k and IRA, but I'm also expanding upon my gold position. Like, diversification is the best way to prepare yourself for anything that the world is going to throw at us. Not to mention, don't do all this, as we've seen with so many of our comrades. Don't do all this and then not have your family have a backup plan to access, manage, or utilize what you're building. Because we saw so many of our friends whose families cannot access what they were working so hard for. So make sure you have a backup plan for your family, loved ones, whatever it might be. As Bloomberg reported, Harnet's team observed that the bubble risks were rising. Following the U.S. government approval of $3.4 trillion fiscal package that cuts taxes, the worsening fiscal outlook may dampen demand for long-term government bonds, and which could turn weight on broader market risk markets. At the same time, the DJT administration had reportedly begun sending notices to other nations, setting unilateral tariff rates if trade deals are not reached before next Wednesday's deadline. The economic uncertainty, rather than a specific crypto-related factor, offers a more convincing explanation for Bitcoin's inability to hold 110K. Now, remember, Bitcoin was intended to be a hedge against the central banks, a hedge against the centralized entities. But now that it's been so, not centralized, but so like taken over by the non-degens, the non-cypherpunks, the non-regular people, when markets move, Bitcoin seems to move. It seems very correlated, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, another article here from CoinDesk talking about the 80,000 BTC that was moved, largest ever Satoshi era transfer. Right, Satoshi era is between 2009 and 2011. That is prior to my involvement in crypto. Heard about it, but I was not mining it until 2013, 2014. So that scared a few people and got a lot of people talking about it. But again, I'm not concerned. You need to let me know in the comments what you think. Crypto Mikel, hope you're doing well wherever you are. Crypto Pounder 4, appreciate you. Not me, not you, but who? Sounds like fiat is winning. Automatic Beats Dynex is competing in that. Yeah, well, all of the cryptos. Oh, Northern Crypto and Tech. Good morning. Appreciate you stopping by. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Yep, have a plan, people. Have a plan. Moving on, Bitcoin retail investor demand is not gone. They're piling into spot Bitcoin ETFs. So this is a question for anybody that's in the live streams, wherever you are. If you're on X, just at me if you can't post on the my video or whatever. My question is, are you buying Bitcoin ETFs? Who the fuck's buying Bitcoin ETFs? I don't know anybody buying Bitcoin ETFs. I know people buying Bitcoin, right? Directly, right? And I know Robinhood, you can buy Bitcoin, but can you transfer? I think they updated that, but I'm not sure. I don't buy Bitcoin through Robinhood. My exposure is always direct, right? I'm buying through the market directly, whether it's Coinbase, even Cash App, right, guys? You can use Cash App. It's super simple, and actually, it's a little bit cheaper than Coinbase. To have a regular person that's probably already using Cash App for transfers, payments to the children, one another, whatever, to go ahead and get Bitcoin exposure. So, is anybody using? Like, are you using and participating in Bitcoin ETFs? Let me know. Sound off, whether you're watching live or later on, please. On-chain metrics suggest that retail investors are asleep, but the ETFs, AUM, I guess, is growing. Retail investors hold a majority of spot Bitcoin ETF shares, either directly or indirectly through investments and advisors and hedge funds acting on their behalf. Okay. I can see that. So if you have a 401k that started allowing Bitcoin ETFs into that portfolio, you're just working your normal 9 to 5, and those management firms or whatever they are that manage your 401k IRA are just allocating more into Bitcoin. So that could be one way. And I don't think my company, the people who manage it, is directly, like they don't have a Bitcoin ETF in the allocation or what you can pick. It's got to be somewhere in a mix, but like products like Acorn allow you to do that with your moderate aggressive to super aggressive plans that increase your exposure to Bitcoin ETFs. Direct retailer investor demand may be dormant but not dead, especially outside of the United States, where self-custody remains essential, especially for outside the United States. There's a widespread assumption that Bitcoin cannot move higher because retail investor demand is drying up. On-chain data seems to be supporting this narrative. Small wallet activity is a multi-year low. If we look at that, really, look at the transaction volume, right? If we look at the transaction volume over a long span, look at how big this transaction volume, which finally died off in March of 2023, compared to now. Okay? Like, this is retail, baby. Like, this is a huge amount of retail. Are they moved into some of the altcoins, some of the meme coins? Pepe, Shib, Doge, whatever, Pengu, Moo, whatever. And Bitcoin is just all suits now? Like, that's a lot of volume compared to over here. And I think it's just pretty much a wait and see approach. We want to see what happens, right? We're stuck in this range. We're basically near all-time highs. Nobody wants to pick up a cryptocurrency that's near all-time highs. unless it's going to make a new leg up and make a new all-time high. So yeah, trading volume is down. Retail is probably chilling out and being like, yeah, I'm gonna wait to see what these other guys do. Since the launch of the spot Bitcoin ETFs in the US in January 2024, Bitcoin has entered portfolios of clients who might never have held it directly due to the lack of technical confidence or unwillingness to manage self-custody. I have plenty of videos on the channel, guys, showing you how to manage your cryptocurrency, giving you different wallet options, talking about what wallet option might be best for you. If you haven't checked that out and you're new to the channel, please do so. You first got to identify what kind of user are you, period. Are you going to be like a mobile power user where you're always on your phone? The risk is your phone and you are the weakest links. You lose your phone, you don't leave it locked, somebody gains access, or your phone gets hacked because you plug into stupid USB ports at fucking airport like an idiot, instead of bringing your own charger or using an outlet instead of plugging the USB into those hubs. You plug it into your power brick and then plug that into an outlet. At least that's a little bit better. But like if you constantly are using your phone and that's all you do, right? You might bust out your laptop for a little bit. Then yeah, mobile applications might be better for you, but you got to be understandable and mindful of the risk with that. A lot of people like to use their computer for it, all right? But if you're using your computer to go to porn sites and do stupid shit and fuck around and find out, and then your shit gets hacked, you know, are your seed phrases on that same computer, private keys on that same computer, then you get hacked. So you got to identify what you are and how to mitigate any risk that you might take off. A lot of people like to use dedicated mobile devices. Maybe it could be a Raspberry Pi that they load the Bitcoin Core wallet on, or maybe it could be a laptop that they only open up to send and receive cryptocurrencies, but they don't use it for anything else. Or maybe it could be a SafePal hardware wallet, a Ledger hardware wallet. There's so many different options. I go over some of that. You should check it out on the channel if you haven't done so. It's in its own playlist. But institutions who also buy ETFs for their regulatory clarity and ease of accounting. Among them, investment advisors and hedge funds are the biggest ETF holders, managing Bitcoin exposure on behalf of both retail and corporate clients. Bank issuers, pension funds are also stepping in, not only holding Bitcoin, but offering exposure to their customers as well. Collectively, ETF shareholders now own approximately 135 billion in Bitcoin. 135 billion in Bitcoin is substantial, until you go and look at what Bitcoin's market cap is, right? So its market cap is 2.27 trillion. So if we take that, I don't know if I copied it, and we divide the 135 billion by that. 135, 123, 123, that's million, right? Yeah. 135 billion divide by, oh, I can't do it. Damn it. Bear with me, technical difficulties. Million, billion. And so let's just do 2151, and then a shit ton of zeros, 9 zeros. Really? What is that? 6%? 6%? Like, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot. So, still, some people find it easier to just gain exposure to Bitcoin through other resources. They do not want the responsibility of managing their own crypto. And that's another thing too, something I want to talk about later on in the video about the, congratulations to the user who won a recent Bitcoin block on July 3rd, July 4th. I hope you have access to those wallets, guys. I hope when you're solo mining, you're not forgetting the private key or whatever you use to manage that wallet, and now you hit a solo block, but then you have no way to access it. Like, I hope you're being proactive and paying attention to what's going on. But yeah, moving back to this, according to Bloomberg analyst Eric, investment advisors account for nearly half of the 21 billion in assets reportedly through the 13F filings and growing subset of total ETF exposure that now represents around 20% of all ETF holdings. Hedge funds followed the 6.9 billion worth of ETF shares, about 83,000 Bitcoin, followed by brokerages and holding accounts. And you can see the amount of Bitcoins, right? The large amounts, grand total, so on and so forth. The CoinShares report adds color. Goldman Sachs leads among financial advisors with 1.8 billion invested. Millennium Management tops hedge funds at 1.6 billion. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have any direct exposure. Actually, you know what? I lie. You know, IBIT, the BlackRock one, I have shares in that, but I'm not buying Bitcoin through the ETS. I'm buying the company's share. So isn't that exposure though? Is that how that works? I don't know about anything about ETS. I suck at trading. All I know is to look at the charts and the technicals and do my best to guesstimate. I am not a financial advisor and I'm not an expert whatsoever. Made some good plays, but also made some bad plays. So that's why I do not have like, join my Discord and I'll tell you all my favorite moves and what the market's going to do. No, that's somebody else. Y'all can have that. I'm good on that. I just want to mine and then use my earnings from mining to trade to make more earnings. You know what I mean? Anyways, ETFs are retail too in a way. It's tempting to categorize ETF flows as purely institutional in contrast to familiar image of small retail wallet stacking sats. From the lens, yes, direct retail demand has all but disappeared. Retail has been the major distributor of Bitcoin in 2025 so far based on calculations. Meanwhile, both public corporations as well as funds and ETPs have been the biggest source of demand for Bitcoin in 2025. It's certainly true that retail participation is also heavily expressed via the ETPs, ETFs. Once these investment vehicles remain heavily retail dominant, this is evident in the most recent 13F filings in the US, which still indicate that a percentage of retail investors in US spot Bitcoin ETFs is close to 75%. I just really don't think we have that volume that we had in 2023 or even earlier. But it's going to take a lot now to make us move, right? When we drop 10%, that's a significant amount of assets that are liquidated. And when we push up, that's a significant amount of shorts that are liquidated. Like it's not pennies, guys. This is some real fucking money. So yeah. Why can't Bitcoin hit highs? Even though ETFs are growing, everybody's positive on Bitcoin as a whole. Crypto quant graphs illustrates in January 2025, Bitcoin's apparent demand peaked around 1.6 million, doubled the combined ETF and strategy inflows. Today, with ETF flows steady, that figure has flipped to negative territory, plunging to 857,000. So it's dipped down. In other words, current inflows, even with ETFs, aren't enough to offset the outgoing outflows. The market may need another major catalyst, such as interest rate cuts. End of July, guys. I'm really hoping they do that to reignite demand. Such a trigger will primarily benefit institutions and their clients, who now play an increasingly central role in the Bitcoin ecosystem. As much as I don't like it, these guys are so far in now. If they panic or whatever, they're going to have a negative effect on the overall ecosystem. But also, if things go well, we could take advantage of their stupidity, their fear of missing out, and make some pretty good profits. Take profits, move on with our lives, whatever it might be. But we'll see. We definitely need the Fed rate cuts to happen. So let's see here. Fed rate cuts chances July. Where's that website? Nope. CME Fed Watch. Where are we at right now? Oh my God. I don't want to stay paused again, man. I mean, it's looking like we're going to stay paused, y'all. It looks like I keep on going over towards August. I keep on coming up on August for some reason. Everything I've been looking at is like August. And August hasn't always been a green month for us, but I don't know. Maybe the script is going to flip. Maybe we don't do rate cuts until August or even October. And it's later this year is what sends Bitcoin higher. Like, I would like for it to happen sooner, but yeah. All right. Beyond that, Bitcoin price watch, calm before the storm. Could Bitcoin shatter the $111,000 ceiling this week? It's kind of in the same realm of what we were talking about at the beginning of the stream, right? We were pushing up, we fell back. If we can hold this line where we're at right now, then there's a chance that next week, this upcoming week, we could push higher and make a new all-time high. This article kind of like falls in line with that, looking at the 4-hour chart. Key support levels at 107.8K and 106.3 becomes critical for swing entries. You know, we could fall back down to 105, 102, but if we can hold this line, right? Saturday is today, Sunday, Monday, maybe a little like flicker pullback, but then push up later on that week. That'd be awesome. Bitcoin miner Riot produces 450 Bitcoin in June. 1 second. I didn't want to sneeze in your ear. Woo. Bitcoin miner Riot produces 450 Bitcoin in June. The company saw a 76% year-over-year increase in production, earning 5.6 million in power credits, and ended the month with holding almost 20,000 Bitcoin, right? These are those large-scale mining operations. They have the ability to do this. So, yeah. But obviously, a lot of that they're making, thank you very much, Cryptopreneur, for it. A lot of that they're making, they have to, you know, sell to cover their overhead, pay back investors, get more machines, maintenance for machines, whatever, right? But yeah, Riot reported the production of 450 Bitcoin in June 2025, a 12% decrease from May, but 76% increase year over year, right? So the amount of Bitcoin they're earning, this is why they're expanding, right? They either grow to continue to gobble up that Bitcoin to feed the machine that they are, or they stay stagnant and they wind up having to sell machines, close down facilities, all that good stuff. Well, not good stuff, all that bad stuff. But the company saw a surge in power credits totaling 5.6 million, more than double from the previous month. Riot sold about 400 Bitcoin for 41.7 million, representing 21% decrease in volume and a 90% decline in proceeds from May, but a higher average price per coin at 105,000. The company ended the month holding of almost 19,273 Bitcoin, more than double the amount held in June 2024. The average operating hash rate decreased 5% month over month to 29.8 exahash, but remains 162% higher than a year ago. Fleet efficiency held steady at 21.2 joules per terahash. And by the way, Hobbyist Miner did a video showcasing the results with Brains OS on S21 and S19K Pros and how you can make your ASICs more efficient. Great video, go check it out. Also, Epic Blockchain, I've done some videos on that where I'm using that control board to make my machines more efficient. I'm sitting a little bit more efficient than what Brains OS was showing on Hobbyist. But that's because I did some tuning with the Epic Blockchain control board. That doesn't have a dev fee. It's a one-time purchase, no dev fee. But still, that's pretty good efficiency for the entire fleet. 18% improvement over the prior year. Riot mined 450, blah, blah, blah. June, blah, blah, blah. So, they're doing good. They're doing good. Obviously, June's performance follows a similar April, in which Riot produced 463 Bitcoin, sold 475 for 38 million at an average price of 81,000, right? So they might be getting less Bitcoin, but the average price that they're selling at has increased. I think if Bitcoin can continue to push up, we're going to see a lot of the older miners come back into the game. Not only older miners that are like miners with ASICs that stopped mining because of cost of electricity, but like older people get back into the game, but as well as those legacy miners that are shut down because they're not as efficient, coming back and start turning on their machines because Bitcoin, mining Bitcoin at the price of 125,000 plus might be a little bit more financially, or it might make more sense financially than it would right now at 107. But yeah, we'll see how things pan out. Red Panda Mining is coming on after the show, by the way, today at 12 p.m. So don't leave just yet. Hang tight. I will redirect you over there. Grab yourself that cup of coffee. Continue to hang out with me, and don't forget to comment and let me know what your thoughts are. Are you buying Bitcoin ETFs at all? Do you have any exposure? Let me know. Sweden's Justice Minister says to turn up the pressure on crypto seizures. Oh my God, I can't talk. Anyways, a Swedish authority has confiscated over 8.3 million worth of criminal profits since a law related to seizures on the past was passed in 2024. Sweden's Justice Minister has called on local authorities to focus on crackdowns that could yield larger seizures of assets, including cryptocurrency, under the 2024 law, which means confiscating luxury items and cash from individuals, even if they aren't the target of the investigation. They told local police, tax authorities, and other enforcement authorities should put more effort into cases likely to yield crypto proceeds. Like, we want their crypto. Go get their crypto. Go get it. We want their shit. Go get it. Yeah. So he wants to turn up the heat. So any of my Swedish people out there, any of my viewers in Sweden, are you being impacted by this? Do you have any stories that you can share? Feel free to do, like, DM, send an email. Like, I want to hear from you. The crackdown stemmed from the law that was passed in November 2024, allowing authorities to confiscate luxury items and large amounts of cash from individuals, even if they were not the targets of the official investigation. It's unclear how much that 8.3 million of the amount seized was actually tied to crypto. It will be possible to take assets with criminal origin from criminals, regardless of whether or not it can be proven that someone has committed an actual offense. That's fucking stupid, whatever. This means that a person who, for example, has large amounts of cash, seizable bank assets, or luxury articles may forfeit them if he or she does not have an income that is proportional to the property and could otherwise explain where it comes from. Ooh, that's kind of shitty. How are you driving that fancy Mercedes when you're only making $12,000 a year? I'm gonna seize that shit. I don't know how I feel about this. This is something to definitely listen to. It's off of Cointelegraph. Looks like they got a podcast here. 17 minutes, 28 seconds. Probably a good listen to check out. Let me know what your thoughts are. And again, anybody in Sweden want to comment? Let me know. Sound off. So crypto analyst Benjamin Cohen issues altcoin alert. Says altcoins primed to keep going lower against Bitcoin. And here is why. With the economy holding strong, it delays rate cuts. We need the rate cut, people. Likely delays the end of QT, quantitative tightening. This suggests that monetary policy will remain restrictive, continuing to support the idea that altcoin versus Bitcoin pairs are likely still heading to the range lows. And we've been getting this pop up like altcoin mini one-day seasons. And it's been fun. And I know a lot of people have been happy. But we need that long term, baby. We need that strong. We need that good push of Bitcoin and altcoins. But doesn't seem to be happening. Just doesn't seem to be happening. The last two summers, altcoin versus Bitcoin pairs found some brief relief before heading lower into Q4. The large bounce by altcoin BTC pairs over the last few years did not occur until November. So could we be having to wait till November again? Possibly. Total 3, or the entire market cap of all crypto assets, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, is still sitting at 827 billion at time of writing. a 2.3% decrease on the day. Cohen concludes his analysis by telling traders not to confuse alt BTC pairs with USD BTC pairs, which behave in different ways. Does anyone understand the difference between alt BTC and alt USD, or are people just going to keep pretending they're the same thing? This is a difference between alt USD and alt BTC. Alt keep bleeding to BTC, but have gone up on their USD pairs. You understand what he's saying now? So while the altcoins may be rising on the fiat terms, it's not rising against BTC terms. And you could actually go to TradingView, right? And you could compare an asset to Bitcoin. For example, ETH BTC, right? If we look at it on a daily, this mofo has been bleeding out for eons. Not eons, but for a while. Let's go to 1 month. See that? Bleeding. Since December 2021, ETH BTC, except for this little section right here, has been in a downward trend. Of course, we had some minor blips up. As you can see, May 2024, May 2023, May 2025. Interesting, it's always May, huh? Tax season, baby. It's been on a downtrend. So, yeah. BTC, altcoin to BTC pair. Let's do another one. Sol BTC. So this one's done well, but that's because of all the meme coins on Solana. But since it's kind of died off, besides the hype for the presidency, the Trump coin, the Melania coin, it's down compared to Bitcoin. Let's try another one. What other coins should we look at against Bitcoin? I'm thinking XRP did pretty well. Let's look at Cardano. Yeah. So since September 2021, XRP, or excuse me, ADA has been down respected to Bitcoin. March, January, November, December, November. Yeah, so like the November seemed to be a positive. So maybe November will be a good positive month for altcoins if we can hold off that long. But we just have to wait and see. By the way, if we're looking at this on the monthly, you can see the pink line again is like we're stuck in this area. And if we could just push out of it and stay above it, I think that'll be good times, people. Good times. But we'll have to wait and see. All right, where was I at? DeFi development plans, $100 million SOL purchase. Okay, so we got a big buyer of SOL is what this one is. Strategies, BTC playbook, DeFi development announced a $1 million convertible note offering yesterday to fund large-scale purchases of SOL. Such a move could significantly boost investor appetite for SOL. Also, could boost appetite for all those meme coins on Solana. A portion of the proceeds raised from the $1 million will be allocated towards stock buyback through a prepaid forward transaction. It's a crypto playbook. Is similar in strategy in the sense that it will sell equity to buy crypto, but the asset of the choice is in BTC. This time around, it's SOL. Known as the Ethereum killer, Solana remains popular among DeFi users. However, it has so far lacked strong institutional backing compared to Ethereum and Bitcoin. Right? I know the ETFs. Everybody's super excited to see a Solana ETFs. Hasn't happened yet. It's likely to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And when it does happen, we'll see how things go. But of course, Solana has a shit ton of weird tokens on it that do really well, or do a huge pump. People make profits and then they move on to the next meme, like Snorter token, whatever the fuck that is. Grass, decentralized web crawler. What else you got? Bio token aims to make science funding more transparent and efficient. That sounds pretty cool, actually. So as these institutions, developments, companies, whatever, buy into Solana and shit, we might actually see a nice resurgence on alts. Son of Rabbit says, why are you never in the Misfits and Terra live streams? So my schedule, unfortunately, the only time I can really live stream is right now. But I just never got an invite. I have to schedule things in advance because I'm just so busy between, Papa Serpent, which is home, by the way. We just got to keep driving down to the cancer center. Take care of the house, take care of the kids. I know the kids are grown now. Both of them are out doing something with grandma, trying to help out and stuff like that. But I got to schedule things. I just got to schedule things. So let me, if they want to invite me, or schedule a time for me to join, I could try, but it probably wouldn't be where I'm sitting right now. It'd be, like on my phone or some shit. Anyways, another solo Bitcoin miner beats the odds. Congratulations, right? Winning a $350,000 jackpot, right? 3.137 BTC, and they won it through CK Solo. All right, this is a very popular pool, a pool that I have talked about many times and I showed you about. Now, I also showed you how to mine through your own Bitcoin node if you're using a FutureBit Apollo, but Retro Mike showed you guys how to do it through your own Bitcoin node and how to set it up without a FutureBit or something similar to it. You could easily mine to your own Bitcoin node. Here's the thing, though. The chances of me hitting a Bitcoin block through my own node is less than the chances of me hitting a Bitcoin block through CK Solo. And here's why. I have more frequent power outages. I don't have a redundant internet system. So if you got backup power and a redundant internet system to where you're always up, always connected, then maybe that will work. And if my system goes down, right, like a brownout that we had last week's live stream or what have you, that instantly resets the Apollo miner, and then it runs full speed and doesn't reboot itself and get back online so all my miners can connect to it. So I'm just hurting myself, right? Because I could have been really close to hitting a Bitcoin block and all of a sudden power goes out or the internet drops out because Comcast is Comcast, and then I'm SOL. So your best bet is to mine via a pool, but mining to your own node, which is what I'm doing, the benefits of that is you guys will never know about it. You all will never know about it. When somebody hits a block on CK Solo Pool, it gets announced, it gets talked about, the address gets dropped everywhere. Now, granted, that might happen if we hit a Bitcoin block on the FutureBit because it's using the doctor's software, CK Solo. But as long as I don't share the address with you and like brag about it, like most of the crypto influencers, then nobody would be the wiser of who hit the block. And you don't have to dox yourself when you hit the Bitcoin block. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to tell anybody. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's none of their business. So if you hit the Bitcoin block, congrats to you. Hope you do well. Use it to help pay off some debts. Save the rest for the future, because I think it will do you very well. But yeah, congratulations to the winner who won, I think Thursday night. Yeah, late Thursday night. Now they won with a hash rate of 2.3 petahash. And I want to show you what that is. All right, so if we go to the hash rate calculator, which is something like this right here. 2.3 or 2 petahash is 2000 terahash, right? So one S19K Pro is 122 terahash, right? So 2000, or let's do the full number, 2300 divided by 122, or let's actually do 123. You would need 18 of those machines, and that doesn't guarantee that you would hit the block, because look at the math. Even if that was consistent, right? You had consistently 2.3 petahash of hash rate mining away on CK Solo Pool. The miner has a 1 in 2,800 chance. So 1 out of 2,800 chance of solving a block every day or once every 8 years. Think about that. So it's really luck. It's like there's no way you can tell I'm going to hit this block on this date. Unless you have that much hash rate, you're like Riot or one of the big operations. There's no way to guarantee like I'm going to hit this block. There's some ways, and I wish somebody would do it for me because I don't have the money for it. There's some ways where you can use resources that allow you to rent hash rate. And if you can pay for it long enough, you might get lucky. Or you can wind up spending all that money and not getting shit. It's a catch-22. But, yeah, just congrats. Good luck. I hope it was one of you, one of the fam. If not, good luck, and hopefully you guys hit one again. It wasn't too long ago that somebody else hit a block too. Right? What was it? A month ago? And then before that, 3-4 months ago? So solar mining, yeah, okay. One bit axe may not hit a block. But if you group the bit axes like I have done, and you combine them, and you focus them onto like the Bitcoin node like I've done, I think you can do pretty well. I mean, I think the Doctor's Pool does pretty good about seeing the bit axes and stuff like that. But if you're trying to mine like another SHA-256 token like Gigabyte and stuff like that, Cryptex, well, like my testing showed that it does connect, it falls off a lot. So it's like the pools don't see the smaller bit axes. If you have less than 1 terahash or 1 terahash as a miner, that miner is going to drop off a lot. Like it's going to show working, submitting shares at the pool, then it's going to fall off, and then it's going to show, and then it's going to orphan, and then it's going to reject. So combine them all, which I did some tests a while ago about a different way to combine them all, and it just produced a bunch of errors on Retro Mike's pool, so I just didn't put out that content. But yeah, either way, congratulations. Everybody's on CK Solo already, and one of us hit a block. Maybe next time it could be you. You never know. Right now might be the perfect time to go ahead and grab yourself an RX 9070 XT. Got some content on the RX 9070 XT coming your way this week, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to get subscribed. But the reason why they're saying it might be a good time is because of the global tensions, the economic conditions, tariffs, all that good stuff. You know, Moore's Law is dead is basically saying that right now might be the best chance to grab one of these cards if you're interested before things go up, before prices substantially go up. The GPU is pretty good. Remember, I had a 5080. I don't have a 5080 anymore. I have the 9070 XT. There's some pros and cons, but maybe next gen I might go back to Nvidia. I'm not very happy with Nvidia. So the price tags of the 9070 XT have dropped significantly, nearly from 900 to 700, coming closer to MSRP, although still not quite there. The recommended price is 600. And a similar story, other regions such as the UK too, with pricing having dipped a good deal. This, of course, is good news for potential buyers. And pricing has dipped right now due to slow summer sales as is expected at this time of year. But they will likely reach the lowest point, and those retail sources indicate that prices may drop just a touch more. So prices may drop a little bit more soon, but then it's going to be, that's it. Like then it's going to go back up. And then going into the final quarter of 2025, we're apparently going to see price hikes. They'll beyond the normal seasonal holiday season sale reasons. The latter will still be a factor naturally, but MLID asserts that there will be, or Moore's Law is dead, asserts that there will be extra pressure on the PC components, including GPUs, due to businesses being forced to upgrade to Windows 11. So prices may dip lower. Now's your chance to grab a RX. Let's go look it up real quick. Let's go to PC Part Picker. Let's go see for RX 9070. See how much it is. Let's sort by price. All right. Let's put the XT in there. So, I mean, don't forget, you could take a regular 9070, right? And firmware flashes some of them, not all of them, firmware flash them to an XT. There's obviously going to be some missing, like, components, but you can still get some extra performance out of it. Stacy, you said something. I'm sorry I missed it. Hello, how you doing? You rent your Bitcoin miners, so you're renting out your Bitcoin miners. Is what you mean, Northern Crypto and Tech? Please let me know. So yeah, so the lowest 7090 XT 9070, excuse me, is going to be 712 right now. It's not bad. So if you keep an eye on it and we go to PC Part Picker, you can see the prices, and it has dipped down, right? Originally it was 712.98. Or excuse me, the Memory C, which, by the way, do they even have stock? Yeah, they have stock. Wow, why is that so expensive? Get the fuck out of here. It's actually up on this card. It went from 682 on April 1st, or 669. Interesting. So the ASRock lens is doing the exact opposite. Let's look at the Asus Prime. All right, so memory, again, overpriced as heck. What the heck is going on? I don't know. I'm seeing the prices still the same. Oh, here we go. Here's a dip. Newegg dropped from 819 to 739 for the XFX Quicksilver Radeon RX 9070 XT. So just keep your eyes open. See if there's a price drop on a card that you really like. Speaking of the 9070 XT, I do want to say that it now is a little bit faster than the 5070 Ti at 1440p with a driver update. So if you haven't updated your drivers, update your drivers. And you can see Hardware Unboxed did some testing, and certain titles, not all, saw a pretty decent improvement, right? So the 9070 XT, 27% improvement on Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. Then you got a 23% improvement on Counter-Strike 2. Right, that's pretty good, guys. That's really good. So compared to the review drivers to now, yeah, 9070 XT on certain titles, Hogwarts Legacy, 18% improvement. Certain titles do really, really well. 16 game overall. While there was an improvement for Nvidia on the latest drivers, there was an improvement for AMD. And so overall, they're like equally matched. Right, and we look at the 5070 Ti. Let's look up 5070 Ti. Right, they're both 16 gigabytes, but the 5070 Ti, the lowest card is 839. When the lowest card on the AMD side is 712, so almost $100 less. So again, it depends on the title. Some titles perform well with Nvidia compared to others. But AMD, as I've been saying for years, and then Hardware Unboxed referenced it in their fucking video, I thought was hilarious. AMD drivers age like fine wine. It gets better over time, and AMD did just that. So very interested to see how things go. Also, this 3060 Ti apparently had their 12VH or the 3060 Ti kind of like connector, the 12VH power connector, get burned. I think there was a confusion. Instead of shipping the cable for the 12VH power connector, they included a 12-pin version instead. So it didn't have the sense pins. You see the sense pins right here? The 4? It didn't have it. If you look at the connector, there's no 4-pin sense pins. So that sucks. Hopefully that shipping snafu will get resolved. But yeah, more stupidity from Nvidia. XRP bumps, rises. You know, everybody's hyped up on shit. Whatever. Always messy drivers. Yeah, I hate the fact that yeah, mining rig rental. I've been using those guys for a very long time for everything. It's pretty cool stuff. XRP rises after it applies for U.S. banking license. A lot of positive news going on in the crypto space. It's going to take time for things to come into fruition. People are going to continue to take profits. People are going to continue to FUD and provide FOMO and try to get you to shake out of your bags in order for them to pick up. Just hang true to your conviction, stack them sats, continue to hash away, mine, whatever it might be, and play the long game, guys. Much love, much respect. Again, happy 4th of July or happy Independence Day yesterday to all my fam here in the States and to everybody outside in the world. I love you. I respect you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know Red Panda Mining should be live right about now. And I'm about to send you over that way. But is he not live yet? Looks like he's not live yet. Let's see. Red, are you going to go live? If you're watching this. Let's see if he's ready. But yeah, just hang tight. Red's been putting out some fun content, cool things to watch. I got a few videos that I think you would like in the future. It's not all going to be automotive. Yes, some of it will be, but appreciate you hanging tough with me, spending time with me, and just liking and subscribing is a huge thing. Commenting especially. I need you guys to comment more. You guys don't comment enough. When I ask a question, I want to hear your feedback. So I think I'm going to take more to X to ask those questions. By the way, I do have a post right now on the channel for if you had $1,000 right now, if you had $1,000 that you can, do whatever, what crypto assets would you buy? I need you to comment on that, right? Last month we did some stuff. I need to know what you guys would choose, right? $100,000 spare cash right now. What crypto assets would you buy? If you can, make it different from what it was before or last month. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure how that performance is, in the past compared to now. Okay. I have it on X2, but I don't know what I did with it. Yeah, here we go. So you can comment on X or you can comment on YouTube, whichever you prefer. It's under the post. And Red Panda is live. All right, so you guys head on over there. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have fun wherever you are. Do me a favor on the way out. Hit that like button, get subscribed, hit the notification bell to stay up to date. So let's check out additional links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here. And yeah, I'll see you around, all right? And if Terra Hosting and any of the gang wants me to join or jump in on a live stream, interview, whatever, feel free to reach out. I've just been grinding and working, but I'm here. If you need me, I'm here. All right, take care. I'll catch you next one.